a colorless, odorless, tasteless gas essential to all living organisms, being taken by animal which convert it to carbon dioxide. Plants in turn utilize the carbon dioxide as source of carbon and return the same colorless, odorless, tasteless gas to the atmosphere. Yes, you guessed it right. It is oxygen. But do you know how, when, and who discovered the oxygen? And who gave its physical and chemical properties to us, which we know today? So, guys, I will be giving answers to these questions in this video. Just remember these two things. First, air is a mixture of about 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, 0.9% of argon, 0.04% of carbon dioxide, and very small amount of other gases. In short, air is a mixture of many gases and tiny dust particles. Second, ancient philosophy posited a set of classical elements to explain observed patterns in nature. These elements originally referred to earth, water, air, and fire rather than chemical elements of modern science. In the 2nd century BCE,
Philo of Byzantium
was the first man to observe that air was consumed during combustion. He observed that inverting a vessel over a burning candle and surrounding the vessel's neck with water resulted in some water rising into the neck. Observations of Philo was not 100% correct because combustion requires only some part of air which we know today as oxygen. And finally in 16th century,
Leonardo da Vinci
built on Philo's work by observing that a portion of air is consumed during combustion and respiration. And this helped future scientists to discover oxygen. In the 17th century,
Robert Boyle
also proved that air is necessary for combustion. English chemist
John Mayow
refined his work by showing that fire requires only a part of air that he called.
Spiritus Nitroaerius
He also thought that lungs separate
Spiritus Nitroaerius
from air and pass it into the blood, and that animal heat and muscle movement result from the reaction of
Spiritus Nitroaerius
with certain substance in the body. Polish alchemist
Michael Sendaivoigas
described a substance contained in air, referring to as
Cibus Vitae
meaning food of life, and this substance is identical with oxygen. He produced and studied oxygen during thermal decomposition of potassium nitrate. This discovery of
Sendaivoigas
was however frequently denied by the generations of scientists. Usually year 1771 is regarded as the year of discovery of oxygen. It was named as oxygen in the year 1777. But the credit for discovery of oxygen is a tie between three men. Let us see who are they. It is commonly claimed that oxygen was first discovered by Swedish pharmacist
Carl Wilhelm Scheele.
He had produced oxygen gas by heating mercuric oxide and various nitrates in 1771. He called the gas fire air because it was then the only known agent to support combustion. He wrote an account of his discovery in a manuscript titled Treatise on Air and Fire, which he sent to his publisher in 1775. The document was published in the year 1777. In the meantime, on August 1, 1774, an experiment conducted by a British clergyman
Joseph Priestley
focused sunlight on mercuric oxide contained in a glass tube, which liberated the now known gas, oxygen. He named it dephlogisticated air. Priestley published his finding in 1775 in a paper titled An Account of Further Discoveries in Air. The French chemist and
Antoine Laurent Lavoisier
later claimed to have discovered the new substance independently. Actually,
Priestley
visited
Lavoisier
October 1774 and told him about his new experiment and how he liberated the new gas. And
Carl Wilhelm Scheele.
so dispatched a letter to
Lavoisier.
on September 30, 1774, which described his discovery of previously unknown substance, but
Lavoisier.
Scheele never acknowledged receiving it. And a copy of letter was also found in
Carl Wilhelm Scheele.
belonging after his death.
Lavoisier.
Conducted first adequate experiments on oxidation and gave first correct explanation of how combustion works. His experiments started in 1774 to discredit the phlogiston theory and to prove that the substance discovered by Priestley and Scheele was a new chemical element. He published his experiments in his book,
Sur la combustion en général.
which was published in 1777. In that work, he proved that air is a mixture of two gases: vital air, which is essential for combustion and respiration, and azote, meaning lifeless, which did not support either. Azote later became nitrogen in English,
Lavoisier.
so renamed vital air to oxygen in the year 1777, from the Greek roots meaning acid former, because he mistakenly believed that oxygen was a constituent of all acids. Chemists such as Sir Humphrey Davy in 1812 eventually determined that
Lavoisier.
was wrong in this regard, but by then the name was well established.
Lavoisier.
Also published
Traité élémentaire de chimie, elementary treatise on chemistry.
in the year 1779, which was the first modern chemical textbook, and presented a unified view of theories of chemistry. It contained a list of elements or substances that could not be broken down further, which included oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, phosphorus, mercury, zinc, sulfur, and many more. And in this way,
Lavoisier.
proved the theory of classical element, which typically refers to air, water, earth, and fire, wrong, and discovered the new element oxygen. This way, he even opened the gate for future chemists to discover more new elements. And slowly, new modern periodic table was formed, all because of great scientists like
Antoine Laurent Lavoisier.